Good afternoon, everyone. Today is Tuesday, September the 28th, and it is approximately 1:20. I'm going to start off today with Psalms 36, and then we will be reading from Job's 34. So let's begin. Psalms 36 is a 12-verse song or prayer. So let's begin. It is a song of King David. An article is written within my heart concerning the sinfulness of the wicked. There is no fear of God before his eyes. For in his own eyes he flatters himself too much to detect or hate his sin. For in his own eyes he flatters himself too much to detect or hate his sin. The words of his mouth are wicked and deceitful. He has ceased to be wise and to do good. Even on his bed he plots evil. He commits himself to a sinful course and does not reject what is wrong. Your love, O Lord, reaches to the heavens, your faithfulness to the skies. Your righteousness is like the mighty mountains, your justice like the great deep. O Lord, you preserve both men and beasts. How priceless is your unfailing love! ! Both high and low among men find refuge in the shadow of your wings. Amen. They feast on the abundance of your house. You give them drink from your river of delight. For with you is the fountain of life. In your light we see light. Continue your love to those who know you, your righteousness to the upright in heart. May the foot of the proud not come against me, nor the hand of the wicked drive me away. See how the evildoers lie, fallen, thrown down, not able to rise. That's right, when the wicked do finally fall, it is a one-time fall, and they do not rise back up. Whereas when the righteous fall, though they may fall 7 times, they will rise 7 times. Okay, so let's go to the reading, and then I'm going to continue with anarchy and more definitions to go with that. This is Elihu. He is among the friends of Job. He is also the youngest of the 4 friends that came to see him. And because he was the youngest, and this is old biblical sound wisdom that we do not apply today. My generation, we tend to apply it because we know better, but the newer generation do not apply these principles because, first of all, they think they know more than you. Though you have lived longer, though their parents and grandparents have lived longer, their older aunties have lived longer, we experienced more, we've seen more, we've even done more or accomplished more in life. The new generation often forgets all of these things, especially if you take a fall. Okay, so we know in our generation not to hinder the conversation of our elders at any time at home. It is a forbidden thing for you to hinder the conversation of your elders if they are in your house and they're having a controversial conversation. You, being the younger, you are not to intercede or intervene or stop their conversation, because why? They are elders. They are entitled to speak about whatever it is that they speak of. You being the younger one, the only thing that should be open is your ears, not your mouth. You are not to discourage them from speaking about any topic. Period. So this young man in the biblical time acknowledged this form of respect. So he waited until everyone else had spoken, and he waited until no one else had something to say, because why? They were all older than himself. And this is old school biblical respect. Okay? Such as my mother, who's still alive. If she was to say anything, whether I agree about it or not, I am not to intercede in her conversation. I am not to stop her from what she's saying. I am just to do what? Open my ears and listen to all her words. Period. If I don't agree, I am to be very, 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 and I can say this until the year is out, careful of how I answer my mother. It should never sound arrogant at all, disrespectful at all, offensive at all. And this is how we ought to be with our parents. We come from a generation in which we love our parents. Our parents can take the belt to us, take our cell phones, take all away our privileges, and we would just wait it out until our time was done, with that, however long your parents chose to punish you for. But this generation, if you take their cell phone, you have just signed your death sentence. A woman in Tennessee last week took her 17-year-old son's cell phone. She apparently thought it was a thing, that it was an appropriate action for whatever he did. The young man went into her room, into her nightstand, grabbed her pistol, quietly left the room, cocked it, came back into her room, and put a bullet to her head. This is the generation that lives on this earth now. A disrespectful generation, a hateful generation. Is not your mother and father worth more than 10 million cell phones? This wicked generation is so wicked that they will pass by thee, literally, and not stop to see you. They will pass by thee, literally, and just to make sure, sometimes they will take a flight. That's wicked and evil. To pass by your parents. Let me repeat that. That is wicked and evil. To pass by your parents. If they have been there for you until you were wise enough to smell yourself and tell your parents what you think, you ought to remember those days when you were not able to care for yourself. Your parents did. And they deserve your respect. No man or no woman should cause you to pass by your parents. Period. If you are married and both of your parents are alive, you are to treat each parent with the same amount of respect and love. You are not to pass by your parents anytime. If you're traveling to a state and you must pass by your parents while traveling, them, you ought to stop and say hello to your parents. That's called honoring your parents. Let's begin. Elihu said, but before he said, I like what it says back here in Job 32. It says here, I will read just verse 1 to 5 to show you the respect. So these three men stopped answering Job because he was righteous in his own eyes. But Elihu, son of Barachel, the Buzite, of the family of Ram, became very angry with Job for justifying himself rather than God. He was also angry with the three friends because they had found no way to refute Job and yet had condemned him. Now Elihu had waited before speaking to Job because they were older than he. He was the youngest. So he could not speak before any one of the other older elders at all. He had to wait until he was absolutely sure that all of his elders had gotten their words out before he could speak. Now Elihu had waited before speaking to Job because they were older than he. But when he saw that the three men had nothing more to say, his anger was arose and he began to speak. Okay? And I'm going to read 6 because it makes sense. And 7. And it says, so Elihu, son of Barachel, the Buzite, said, I am young in years, and you are old. That is why I was fearful, which is something that has just vanished. The fear of God vanished among the people. Not all of the people. Most of them. Those out there causing chaos are not among the people of God. I am young in years and you are old. That is why I am fearful, not daring to tell you what I know. 7. I thought age shall speak, advanced years shall teach wisdom. Something that is not desirable today. But it is the spirit in a man that breathes of the Almighty that gives him understanding. It is not only the old who are wise, not only the aged who understand what is right. And this is true. You can come across a young man or young woman just by speaking to them. You can see that they have insight based on what they say. My 10-year-old granddaughter said something several weeks ago, and immediately the first word that came to my mind was the word insight. My little girl, granddaughter, has great insight. Even more than her parents. Based on what she said. And they weren't long words. They were just a few words, but yet they were powerful. It is not only the old who are wise, not only the aged who understand what is right. Therefore I say, listen to me. I too will tell you what I know. I waited while you spoke. I listened to your reasoning while you were searching for words. I gave you my full attention. But not one of you has proved Job wrong. None of you have answered his arguments. Do not say we have found wisdom. Let God refute him, not man. But Job has not marshaled his words against me, and I will not answer him with your arguments. Okay, so now let's go into, this has more verses to it, but actually, let's finish it, because it only has a few more. But Job has not marshaled his words against me, and I will not answer him with your arguments. They are dismayed and have no more to say. Words have failed them. Must I wait now that they are silent, now that they stand there with no reply? I too will have my say. I too will tell what I know. For I am full of words, and the spirit within me compels me. Yes, when it is your spirit that compels you, you will speak those words to whomever it is that you have to deliver them to. Their response is not your concern. The fact that they heard your words is your only concern. And some words can be quite powerful. But this is only if you're speaking to a generation who fears the Lord and shows honor to their parents. And your parents will say things to you that will make you stop, sit, and ponder. Okay? For example, my mother once yelled at me and said, Brenda, if you don't stop that, you're going to do time. She said, Brenda, if you don't stop that, you're going to pull time. Now, these were days before I became a wife and a mother of 3 more. By the time I became a wife and a mother of 3 more, it was a 360-degree change. Those words my mother spoke to me made me go up on that porch and sit there all day and ponder over them. When I got up, change came in. I sat there all day. As I said, when I got up, change took place. So yes, your parents can tell you things that make you stop and think about it. But if you're not listening, if you're giving them a deaf ear, then whatever comes down the pipe, you deserve. All right, let's finish with this. I too will have my say. I too will tell what I know. For I am full of words, and the spirit within me compels me. Inside, I am like bottled up wine, like new wineskin ready to burst. I must speak and find relief. I must open my lips and reply. I will show partiality to no one, nor will I flatter any man, amen. For if I were skilled in flattery, my Maker would soon take me away. Now let's go to the reading of 34. That was just the first 22 verses of 32. I didn't intend on reading that, Father, but I guess you wanted me to. All right. This one is 37 verses. Let's begin. And this is Elihu's reply. Hear my words, you wise men. Listen to me, you men of learning. For the ear tests words as the tongue tests food. The ear tests words as the tongue tastes food. Let me repeat that one more time. The ear tests words as the tongue tastes food. Let us discern for ourselves what is right. Let us learn together what is good. Job said, I am innocent, but God denies me justice. Although I am right, I am considered a liar. Although I am guiltless, his arrow inflicts an incurable wound. What man is like Job, who drinks scorns like water? He keeps company with evildoers, his associates with wicked men. For he says, it profits a man nothing when he tries to please God. So listen to me, you men of understanding. Far be it from God to do evil, from the Almighty to do wrong, for he is holy. He is incapable of doing that which is evil. We leave that up to man. He brings upon himself what his conduct is. He repays a man for what he has done. Did you hear that? He repays a man for what he has done. Or a woman. So this is why I encourage you to always do that which is good in the sight of God. Don't bother yourself with what is good in the sight of man. Period. Because these are two different eyesights. One is holier than thou, and one is wicked. Remember, it is of man to irk, but it is divine to forgive. God does not irk, nor does he sleep, nor does he forget. Why? Because he is known as the Waymaker. He is known as the Promise Keeper. Man cannot take on these titles because man is limited in his capabilities. The Waymaker has unlimited capabilities. The Promise Keeper has not the ability to not keep his promises. So this is why he repays a man for what he has done. He brings upon him what his conduct deserves. Why am I staring at you? Because we want to always have conduct that deserves good blessings, not evil ones. If you go around pretending that one parent is not worth your time, you will be lucky to live as old as that parent. For God does not like ugly. It is unthinkable that God would do wrong, that the Almighty would perverse justice. Unthinkable. Who appoints him over the earth? Who put him in charge of the whole world? If it were his intention and he withdrew his spirit and breath, all mankind would perish together, and the men would return to the dust. If you have understanding, hear this. Listen to what I say. Can he who hates justice govern? No, he cannot. A wicked man knows nothing of justice. Can he who hates justice govern? Will you condemn the just and mighty one? Is he not the one who says to the king, you are worthless, and to nobles, you are wicked? Who shows no partiality to princes and does not favor the rich over the poor? For they are all the works of his hand, both the poor and the rich, both the good and the evil. Are they not the work of God's hands? Was Pharaoh not the works of God's hand? The same hand that made Moses? They die in an instant in the middle of the night. The people are shaken and they pass away. The mighty are removed without human hands. His eyes are on the ways of men. He sees their every steps. There is no dark place, no deep shadow where evildoers can hide. God has no need to examine men further, that they should come before him for judgment. Without iniquity, he shatters the mighty and sets up others in their place. He did it in the biblical time and he does it today. He took it from Saul and gave it to David. Because he takes notes of their deeds. So although you might go to that funeral and paint that individual as a saint, God knows the truth. The elders know the truth. Because he takes note of their deeds, he overthrows them in the night and they are crushed. He punishes them for their wickedness where everyone can see them. Because they turned from following him and had no regard for any of his ways. That means you had no regard for the evil you done to another. None. They caused the cry of the poor to come before him, so that he heard the cry of the needy. Yes, Lord. Don't let us come before our God on our knees crying about something you done to us. Because he will cause us to behold it with our own eyes. But if he remains silent, who can condemn him? If he hides his face, who can see him? Yet he is over man and nation alike. To keep a godless man from ruling, from lying sneers for people. Suppose a man says to God, I am guilty, but will offend no more. Teach me what I cannot see. If I have done wrong, I will not do it again. Should God then reward you on your terms? Should he? Should he overlook the evilness that you have done? Though he favored Jacob, did Jacob not pay for the evil he did to his brother? Should God then reward you on your terms? When you refuse to repent, you must decide, not I. So tell me what you know. Men of understanding declare, wise men who hear me say to me, Job speaks without knowledge. His words lack insight. You cannot burn enough rams to take away the sins of your children. Let me repeat that. You cannot burn enough rams or goats to take away the sins of your children. They must pay for their own sins individually. Oh, that Job might be tested to the utmost for answering like a wicked man! Exclamation mark. To his sin he added rebellions. Scornfully he clapped his hands among us and multiplied his words against God. Those are all 37 verses of Job 34. Thank you very much for listening to us here at Spiritual Water. I was going to add I will do it tomorrow. If I live and nothing happens, I will actually start off with it tomorrow. I don't want to get too far without focusing on this anarchy direction that we're heading. In the meantime, may the peace of God be upon you. May the protection of God surround you. May the will of God be manifested on earth. Thank you for listening. I love you, but God will always love you the most. Have a beautiful day. And if I live and nothing happens, I'll see you tomorrow.